This is Richard Mwenja exclusive, and I'm yours truly, son of the soil, Richard Mwenja. Welcome to the conversation. It is always a distinct privilege to have your company with us, and today we are talking matters to do with the judiciary here in Kenya and what reforms that should come forth so that citizens feel that the judiciary is serving their interest to the level best. And I have Professor Herman Manyora to help me bring that conversation home. How are you doing today, sir?
Good.
You're pretty much well?
Well, you can see I'm relaxed.
Relaxed.
Yes.
All right, sir. Let's begin with the letter written by former LSK President Nelson Navi to Chief Justice Martha Koome, seeking her intervention when it comes to clearing backlogs in our courts, because Navi believes that this far we've seen judges citing they're out of town for official duties, and with that in town we've seen so much of backlogs in our courts. I want to understand, Prof, what is the state of our courts with regards to judiciary? Is it in that kind of mess?
What is Javi saying? I haven't read it.
That there is need for the CJ to instill some sense of discipline within judges. They should be in the courtroom serving Kenyans.
There's a backlog.
Yeah.
I was with Javi on a TV station sometimes back, and I told him, Javi, all these things you are talking about are not even important. Let's deal with the courts. That's your work. Remove the backlog. Because there are serious backlog. There's a serious issue of backlog.
Yeah.
Even me, I have a case of 1996.
To this date?
Yeah, so really, they don't talk about big things. Oh, we want to remove GU. Come on.
And now to clear that mess about the backlogs, Prof, where do we start this journey? Does it start from appointing more judges to our courts?
No. How do we process cases that come before court? That's as simple as that. How do we process them? You can borrow, and I've given this example, you can borrow from the world of medicine, healthcare. It's not every time you go to a hospital you see a specialist or a consultant. There's clacking. There are some things that can just be done by clinical officers and MOH before you get to a consultant, even in the UK.
Hi, my name is Eileen Akal, and I'm the head of training at Center for Innovative Technology Limited, SciTech. If you finish your Form 4, and you would like to enter into an engineering field, architectural field, or any related field, please come to SciTech. We will train you how to be industry ready. We will also train you how to make engineering drawings. We will train you how to draw using the software.
I did my degree in China for 4 years. After I finish my degree, I come back to my country, Kenya. But the knowledge I find in SciTech, it's much, much better than the 4 years I spent in China.
We can empower a lot of young people in Kenya to gain gainful employment. And I want to speak to parents out there. If you have a child who's just done fourth form, between the time they do their exams and the time they enter tertiary education, there are so many months there they waste. Bring them here. In those short months, they will gain skills that they can use to advance their careers, to start their own even private companies. They can find work online, and when they go to university, they'll be so way ahead of their peers.
Welcome to SciTech.
When the litigants appear before courts, is there a way we can look at what they are presenting before court? Can we create a structure or structures we can use to look at what people are bringing before court and the filter? Sometimes it's just a question of information. We will have trained staff who just look at your papers and tell you, look here, this is completely out of the way in terms of legal matters. You cannot present a matter like this before court for 1, 2, 3 reasons. This case of yours, the way you have put it, you need a lawyer to do it for you, because the way you have done it, look at the gaps. These are the gaps, these are the gaps. Okay? Now, this case of yours with your neighbor, we may wish to ascertain certain things first. And I've given an example of a court that rose to go to Jackson Angaine's farm, which had been grabbed by people, squatters invaded. He made the court believe people had recently invaded his farm. Somebody must have whispered to the court that these squatters have been there from even before independence. So the court went there, and there was evidence that the people had lived there for years. The houses, you look at the state of the house. This house was not put up last year. There's a school there. This school, just for example,
True, yeah.
this school was not put there yesterday. You know, these trees, these coffee plants, they cannot have grown
Overnight.
So, and then we have a system of administration in this country called the chiefs and the elders. They can help us process, not to finish in the manner in which tribunals used to do, because they go to a point where they're also being bribed, but just to ascertain certain facts. So even in civil litigation, civil cases, there are a lot of things that can be done at clerical level by clerks, trained clerks, so that what it goes before a magistrate is something that has been sieved. The litigants know what they are doing, the case is presented in a way. And then, of course, then what have you saying comes into this adjournment. So I have gone to court. Sometimes you just laugh. Let me give you my own example.
Sure.
I'm in court. I've stopped what I was doing. Then we are told this case cannot proceed because the magistrate does not have jurisdiction, given the amount of money that is mentioned here. You know, there are 10 million,
Yeah.
what? So you go home, this case is being taken to another court that has jurisdiction because of the amount of money. So we go home. Then we come back on the date appointed. And we're told, oh, no, actually, she has the jurisdiction. Look at that. But even before you look at it in terms of jurisdiction, did we have to go to court? Why were we not just told? Because we live in a world where communication is so simple. You just call litigants and tell them, don't come to court. This case has been taken through the court system. The court system itself is wired these days. It's electronic. And then there are mobile phones. So there is so much our courts can do, even before we talk about enabling judges through digital platforms, training judges and magistrates. Before we talk about additional judges and magistrates, there's so much we can do to remove the backlog.
From where you sit, Prof,
Yes.
you seem to believe that appointing more judges to our courts is not the silver bullet to address the backlog issue.
not.
But let's stick even with the appointment of judges there.
Yes.
When it comes to the selection process, there are those who believe that oftentimes politics has played a hand. Yet, ordinarily, merit should be the true north when it comes to selection of judges to serve in our courts in Kenya. Why do you think we are not putting merit where it should be when it comes to appointment of judges? Why should politics trickle down in the selection process?
It's a national problem where politics interferes with everything, including merits in terms of recruitment. It's a question of a country where nepotism is the order of the day. We live in a country where bribery and corruption get people places. You get to a place not because you deserve, but because you are bribed, you have corrupted a few people. So this is a wider issue. But then again, there should be peer review and peer assessment. The judicial system must create a peer review mechanism so that there is a forum biannual or whatever period they may choose. 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, whatever.
Review period.
Through the organs created by the judiciary and perhaps even by the constitution, the Magistrate Association or whatever it could be called, should be able to know that if today we were to promote 20 magistrates into senior magistrates, this is the order of merit. This is our own ranking. Because we have clear set criteria. How long one has served, blah, 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 blah. Back, those things, you set the criteria. So we do self-assessment. So the judges of the High Court, through periodic review, self-assessment through a peer self-assessment mechanism. The judges of the High Court in this country should be able to know at any one given time, if we wanted 10 judges, this is the order of merit. That way you lock away busybodies and politicians. So these are things I'm saying. We need leadership in the judiciary that is creative and imaginative and proactive. Not sitting in the comfort of what a judge is, driven, back left, the word J, uko nyuma sijui ni kibao. No! We must break out of that in useless gowns, red, what? No, we must be liberal in the way we look at things. We must be modern in the way we look at things. We must break out of traps we have set for ourselves and boxes we have been put ourselves in. So, if I was the Chief Justice,
Sure.
for just 6 months alone,
Record 6 months?
6, many judges will retire, will resign, and magistrates, because they love to work. And I will ensure they are paid well, but they will work.
In another 6 months,
Hakuna kitu ya kuadijani kesi.
the judge is out of town on official
And hakuna kitu kama hiyo. No, hakuna kitu kama. And we shall set a system of handling cases. Okay. And we shall have clear timelines. If it is this kind of case, at the High Court, maximum 6 months. At the Court of Appeal, 2 months. And I've seen another problem with the judiciary. You go to the Court of Appeal and it's like you are starting afresh. The same judges, the same lawyers, advocates, saying the same things they say at the lower court. No.
a circus that never ends.
And I was very keen following the William Ruto Uhuru case at The Hague. And I saw how orderly the thing was. And I said, we are going to learn from it. Including time. Ruto came late by less than 5 minutes. I remember that lady called Judge Ekaterina. Twenda Silova, whatever place. Ekaterina somebody.
Yeah.
Mr. Ruto, Mr. Ruto, less than 5 minutes late. We have to get there. Because the dispensation of justice, we are told that justice must not just be done, but be seen to be done. So things like even just delay. A case is starting at 2. The judge comes at 3:30. In a hurry. Or he's going to attend a funeral. You can't be a social judge.
Glad that you've dropped the point about perhaps our judiciary being shackled by perennial issues such as the place of money when it comes to dispensing justice.
Yes.
And your friend, Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, has been big on that call that let's stem juris pesa. He believes money has got into our courtrooms. How true is the claim from Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi?
Yours truly has never caught a judge receiving a bribe. I've never seen a judge receiving a bribe. Of course, grant is not easy to seal a judge. Neither have we even had demonstrated cases of judges being tried, apart from Justice Tunui, where we were told there were cameras in the petrol station, and the Sonko tapes. But something concrete to convince me that really we don't have. What do we go by? First of all, looking at the lifestyle of judges, one can easily conclude they would not have done the things they are doing if they are earning their salary. Because a judge doesn't have time for anything, not even to do farming. During vetting, some of them they were saying they were doing all manner of things, like the police during vetting. It's not true. The life of a judge is such that you should dedicate yourself to your work and you get paid well. That's the basis of us beginning to pay them well. So if a judge can have 2 children in UK studying, and he lives in Karen, and his father was not an industrialist, he was a poor boy from Kisii or Luombei, and or someone we teach with at the university, a man whose salary cannot even last for 15 days. Then all of a sudden he has a house in Karen. All of a sudden children are going to all these expensive schools locally and abroad. You can conclude there's some game. Number 2, if you read some rulings and some judgments, you ask yourself, either this judge, a judge of the court of the High Court, is not fit to be that lowest magistrate, the lowest magistrate, I don't know what they are called. They used to be called district magistrate. I don't know whether they are still there. I think they have changed.
Yeah.
He's not fit to serve in a court in Hamisi. And by the way, we've been blaming the judiciary. I must say this. I was in Vihiga law courts last week when I was home.
Yeah, sure.
I was chasing something. My cousins being harassed by a neighbor over land. These lawyers will always fight over such a things.
And
I was shocked. I was shocked that the physical facility in some of our courts in this country have changed.
For the better?
Vihiga law courts. Nice building, nice staircase, they are well lit, they are not dirty, the officers are clean. I was shocked. I'm telling you, I was in shock.
You've been given a facelift.
I couldn't believe that. I think it's a new courtroom.
Okay.
I couldn't believe this is Kenya.
Let us hope it's not an exclusive case.
And then when I went to the office, the lady just pulled the file like just said, "Is this Kenya? A file you just get." So it can be done. And something is being done. We must say kudos to the judicial. So far you are trying, but you can do better.
You can
There's
do
something
better.
you had asked, which I...
Yeah. Very lastly, Prof. And I want to understand this. When we are seeing this widening, this trust deficit between Kenyans and judiciary widening, because they believe the court sometimes does not rule to their favor, especially on contentious issues such as the Finance Act of 2024, how the conduct of impeachment of some of the leaders have been held by the judiciary. What do you think lies ahead in the fullness of time when it comes to this widening trust deficit between judiciary and the citizens?
Before I go there, I was trying to say that another way of feeling that there must be something wrong, some of the judgment can only be done by someone who is not fit to be a lowest judge, magistrate, and yet they are operating as a judge.
True.
Or, and which is most likely the case, they have been compromised. So this is so true. Now, going forward, and I'm a very worried man, Kenyans are losing confidence in the judiciary. And the judiciary must know. First, they are the missing link in the fight against evil in society. All manner of evil, not just corruption. Even this femicide and what? Serial killers are released by the court. Many things they are doing. Secondly, when the judiciary does dilly-dallying like that, there is the danger that citizens will take the law into their own hands.
At some point?
In this country, you must have a mountain of faith as you go to court. Otherwise, people have lost hope. Even me, if you tell me to go to court, I'll be wasting my time. I'll be wasting my time. I'm telling you, I'll be wasting my time. I was in court for 3 years. Injury, you see this injury in an accident?
Yeah, sure.
Even now, I can't do this.
You can't squint here.
According to doctors, 15% injury, or 15% disability. I almost died. It was a really bad thing. The case has dragged. When it was finally decided recently, early this year or something like that, mid this year, after 3-4 years, the judge says liability 100% on the other guy. Blah, blah, blah. Then he awards me 300,000 shillings. Even the trouble I took to be attending that, I just to demonstrate one thing. I was expecting to log into a case, and I was having a flight. I hoped I would have dispensed with the case before my flight. I go to the airport, having been waiting to be logged to get my case file to be called from morning. I just boarded my plane. In another instance, because I was now the one giving evidence, the same Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, I left the plane go. I lost my... So, then you come and give me 300,000 shillings. I'm not saying I needed 3 million or 30 million or 300, because there are also limits and so on. Yeah. Some foolish persons coming to say, Manyora should know their limits. We know that. But you can see, there's no faith. You've seen petitions. You've seen cases. I'm aware of cases where you read the judgment or the ruling and you wonder,
who did this?
So where are we really? And therefore the judiciary, other than the manner in which they handle cases, the delays and so on and so forth, and then because they entertain the lawyers. A lawyer has 100 cases, and he doesn't even want to give somebody the whole brief for them. Antaka pesa yake peke yake. Oh, niko kwa funeral. I was in another recently, at the peak of a case. Oh, and it was said he has a sick child. Well, you can have a sick child. You can be going for a funeral. Now the judge was going to attend a funeral, and she kept she kept mentioning, you know, you people, this mention on I'm going for a funeral. I said, what is all this now? Not that we should not go for funerals, but we must. So other than all these games that play in the there is the issue of what kind of justice is coming out of our courts, and that's where the danger is.
The quality of justice.
Kenyans are surely losing faith. I would have said they have lost faith, and for any country to reach there, we are courting disaster.
We are caught in disaster. Should we get to that ground that Professor Herman Manyora is warning us from coming closer to? And he's also making a call to the judiciary that they need to be beyond reproach. That has been our conversation today on Richard Mwenja Exclusive. As to whether the judiciary will tap into nuggets of wisdom from him, it remains to be seen. But until next time on the show, do enjoy the rest of your viewing.